All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct one of the most important, yet, let's be honest, misunderstood, keys to professional success. And it's not about working harder, it's about working smarter, on the skills that truly, truly matter. It all starts with this one number, 85%. This number might just completely change how you think about your career, your skills, and where you should be focusing your energy for real, meaningful growth. Now, this isn't just some made-up stat. This comes from research by heavy hitters like Stanford, Harvard, and the Carnegie Foundation. And what they found is kind of mind-blowing. A massive part of our success isn't determined by what we do, but by how we do it. Only 15% comes from the technical stuff.
So the big question is, how do we master this 85%? Well, in this explainer, we're first going to unpack the huge problem with the term soft skills. Then we'll introduce a powerful new framework, the Success Trinity, to make these skills actionable. We're going to cover mindset, communication, and systems, and then we'll wrap up with a simple first step you can take today.
Okay, let's just dive right into the core issue. If these skills are so critical, why are these so ridiculously hard to improve? Honestly, the answer is kind of hiding in plain sight. It's the name itself, right? The term itself is the problem. It's this fuzzy, catch-all phrase. It just lumps all these crucial abilities like communication, teamwork, leadership, emotional intelligence into one big, confusing bucket. It gives you no clear target to aim for.
This analogy just brings the whole problem to life, doesn't it? Telling someone to get better at soft skills is as useless as telling an athlete to, get better at sports. It offers zero direction. Which sport? Which skill? Passing? Shooting? It is completely, totally unactionable.
So what we need to do is replace that vague idea with something concrete, something you can actually work with. That's why we're introducing a new framework we're calling the Success Trinity. It breaks down that big 85% into 3 distinct learnable pillars. The very first pillar is all about the internal work. This is the foundation for everything else. It's about managing your thoughts, your emotions, and your perspective before you even open your mouth or interact with anyone. It's the inner game. This quote is just brilliant. It perfectly captures a psychological idea called the spotlight effect. You know that feeling? You walk into a room and you feel like every single eye is on you, judging your every move. But the reality is, everyone else is just as trapped in their own head, worrying about the spotlight on them. You know, a core part of mindset is emotional intelligence, and maybe the most powerful shift you can make is learning to respond instead of just reacting. See, a reaction, that's impulsive, it's emotional, and often it's something you regret. A response, on the other hand, is thoughtful. It's all about creating that tiny bit of space between a trigger and your action. And here's a practical system you can use immediately, like today. Before you reply to that frustrating email or that annoying text, just stop. Take 2 deep breaths. I know, it sounds almost ridiculously simple, but that tiny buffer is often all you need to let your logical brain catch up with your emotional brain. It can literally stop you from sending a message you'll regret later. Okay, let's move on to the second pillar and see how this all connects. So once you've started to manage your inner game, it's time for the outer game. This is all about how we connect with other people, what we say, how we say it, and the impact that it has. Just think about it for a second. You could list off a dozen facts about the importance of hard work, and people will forget them in like an hour. Or you could tell the story of Sam, a kid from a tiny village who studied under a single streetlight every night because he dreamed of becoming a doctor. The story, that's what sticks. That's what connects. The master of influence himself, Dale Carnegie, taught this simple but incredibly profound tool. Using someone's name in a conversation, it's such a powerful signal. It says, I see you, I acknowledge you. It instantly makes the other person feel more important and way more connected to you. Oh, this framework is an absolute lifesaver. You know when you're put on the spot and asked for your opinion? Instead of just rambling and trying to cover everything, your brain gets a structure. You can say, the one thing you need to know is, or, well, there are really 2 types of approaches here. It forces your thinking to become instantly more concise and clear.
And that brings us to our final pillar, which is all about what you do every single day. Look, mindset and communication are crucial, but they don't mean a thing without consistency. It's the small, repeatable habits that build momentum and over time actually shape who you are. This idea highlights a really critical difference the one between motivation and identity. Motivation, it comes and goes, but your identity is who you are. You can't be a writer if you have too many zero-word days. On your absolute worst day, writing just one sentence is infinitely better than writing zero because it maintains the identity of I am a writer. So here's the crucial point. Focus on building the system, not just dreaming about the goal. Goals are about a future destination. Systems are about the daily process that actually gets you there. And that last line says it all. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
Okay, so we've deconstructed the whole problem with soft skills and we've built this new, actionable framework with 3 pillars. Now, let's make it real. How do you actually start? Look, you don't have to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's just a recipe for failure. The real key is to start with micro habits, actions that are so small, so simple, that it feels almost ridiculous not to do them.
So here are 3 simple, powerful actions you can take today, one for each pillar. For mindset, before you check your next notification, just take 2 deep breaths. For communication, make it a point to use one person's name in a conversation. And for systems, read just 1 page of a book. See, this isn't about some massive transformation. It's about initiation. This is how you start building real momentum.
And that's really the ultimate takeaway. Each tiny action, each micro habit, is a vote for your future self. It's not about one grand gesture or a single moment of inspiration. It's about the small, consistent sum of your daily choices. So, who are you voting to become today?